Hello, this is T West, and welcome to Afrisynergy.
Human organ harvesting in Egypt, targeting black immigrants.
Refugees enslaved, women raped, and organs stolen, all while being held captive by Bedouin smugglers in Egypt's Sinai Peninsula. Unmarked graves of dozens who never made it to their goal, a new life in Israel. Unspeakable horrors uncovered in the CNN documentary Death in the Desert, which aired in early November. But since then, aid agencies report that scores of refugees have been released from Bedouin custody and have made it across the border to Israel.
What we've seen is, I would say, quite a substantial increase in the number of people who have crossed since the beginning of November. What we've heard was about 1,300 from basically the first 2 weeks of November, which is well over double the normal rate.
The UNHCR says it's unclear why so many of the refugees are all of a sudden being released.
So it really becomes a question of who is funding the organ harvesting in Egypt, in Libya, after the fall of the Libyan government. Who is funding all of that? Who is providing the medical equipment? Who is paying the big dollars for these organs? As I've said in the past, Israel is ground zero for organ harvesting.
Sinai is a lawless area where the Egyptian state has little authority, so it's difficult to know what impact the CNN documentary had. But a chief for the Sawarka tribe says shortly after it aired, Egyptian intelligence officials put pressure on human traffickers, and more than 600 African refugees were released without having to pay the massive sums normally extorted by criminal Bedouin gangs. That matches what the UNHCR is hearing from the refugees who made it to Israel.
Eritreans were paying $1,000 a month. Money was being extorted out of them while they're in Sinai. They were there for long periods. They were very ill-treated, often tortured. Women, systematic sexual abuse, consistent, very credible testimonies. Whereas some of these people that arrived recently, in the past couple of weeks, they report having spent far less time in these centers in Sinai, these camps, and often paying far less money, $3,000, $3,500, which is far less than the average pre-November.
The truth is that the Arab League, members of the Arab League, have been complicit in the killings of black Libyans and black African immigrants in Libya. Now the whole world see that some of them are also complicit in the killing, the rape, and the stealing of organs of black Africans in Egypt. But let us not forget that at the top of the pyramid are wealthy Israelis who are out hunting humans for their organs and are paying top dollar to acquire the organs of these people.
Whatever the reason, it seems clear something major has changed in Sinai, and people like Hamdi Al-Azazi, who runs the New Generation Foundation for Human Rights, which tries to help African refugees in Sinai, says it's about time.
So would you say that this is modern-day slavery?
It's more than slavery. It's terrible. You can't accept. If you tell any person about the stories there, nobody can accept your talking, because they will answer you, no, you're a joke. It is not true. Is it true? Somebody do that in this time in the world?
It's unclear whether the increased number of refugees now crossing into Israel really marks a turning point in the treatment of Africans fleeing the turmoil in places like Sudan and Eritrea. But at the very least, it seems a few hundred of them have had a smoother and safer journey to what they hope will be a better life.
Yes, Israel can accept a few of the black immigrants. But as we've seen in the past, they have also sterilized many of the young black women from Ethiopia in Israel. We have had rabbis and politicians who have been arrested in the United States for their involvement in organ harvesting, illegal trafficking in human organs in the United States. In other areas of Eastern Europe, these people have been arrested and put on trial. And even in Israel, arrested and put on trial. And one of them was a brigadier general, a former brigadier general of the Israeli Defense Force. So it is not a surprise that suddenly hundreds and hundreds of African immigrants have been freed in Egypt. We know who is working with these Bedouins. The medical equipment comes from wealthy Israelis for the taking of human organs. For wealthy Israelis who need kidneys, who need livers, who need eye corneas. The world knows what is going on. This is T West with Afrisynergy.